do block. Do try. If you've never tried blocking, I encourage you to definitely try. Give it a try. No. Okay, so this is another one where I have a strong opinion. I'm struggling with this one right now. People have really strong opinions about this. All right, so the so-called spicy knitting opinions. I've watched quite a few of these here on YouTube from other knitting YouTubers, and I thought it could be fun to share my take on them. I'm gonna be doing it while I'm working through my workhorse basket of yarns. So these are somewhat tangled up. So I'm just gonna wind them back into neat little balls while I do this. First of all, the whole concept of spicy knitting opinions is somewhat strange to me. I don't really understand why we need to separate ourselves into these little groups that are sort of against each other. I think we're all here to share the joy of knitting. I need to mic myself up. I think I could start doing how not to do YouTube series. I would have a lot of examples for that one. I mean, it's just, there's rarely just one right way to do things, and we all have our preferences, and that's all that these spicy opinions come down to. On top of that, I just want to make absolutely clear that all of this is just for fun. This is not a manual on knitting, and I'm not the knitting police, and neither is anyone else. These are just my opinions that I formed over my many years of knitting and also working in the knitting industry. Let's get started. The first knitting opinion is actually this. So, mohair, yay or nay? It seems to divide people up. Some love it, some hate it. I fall into the camp of love mohair, but I do see that it has its pros and cons. Why I love it is that it is warm. It adds a lot of warmth to a sweater without adding weight. And as someone who is always, pretty much always cold, I really appreciate it. I just like the sort of soft edge that it brings to things. But I do understand the cons, that it can be itchy for some people. The different silk mohair blends have different feel to them too. So if that's your issue, try shopping around and seeing if there's something else that works for you if you otherwise like mohair. One of the big issues is the cost of it. So it does add up when you buy the base yarn and then the mohair on it. And also it sheds. It does. I've yet to come across with a brand that doesn't shed. So I have this black wool winter coat, and if I wear a mohair sweater or a shawl with it, it will be covered in the mohair yarn. And then one of the issues that people have with mohair is just it's so popular right now that it's everywhere. And I do agree with that. It is having a moment right now. The good news there is that you can always leave the mohair out. I myself just designed a mohair sweater, this Angel Aura Quartz, that I did for my book Soothing Stitches. Now this was partly inspired by people having these odds and ends of mohair lying around from other projects, that this is somewhere where you could use those up. But you can definitely leave them out. Here you can use other silk, other lace weight yarn instead of the mohair, or just work the whole sweater in DK or worsted weight yarn. And that's true for most patterns that have mohair. Just look at the combined weight of the yarns used in the pattern and just purchase a single yarn with that weight, or come up with your own combination to achieve the similar weight. Opinion number 2. True knitters don't knit with acrylic. I didn't really know how to voice this opinion, but that's what I came up with. but it's just that people really seem to somehow think that if you knit with acrylic, you're not as good as someone who knits with expensive hand-dyed yarn, and that's just absolutely not true. People have different reasons to knit with acrylic yarn. They might have budgetary issues. That might be the only yarn type that is available in their area. They might have sensitive skin or allergies to different animal fibers, for example. So it's not anyone's place to judge it. And as far as I know, knitting refers to the act of using needles and certain kinds of stitches to create fabrics. So it doesn't say anything about the material used. Personally, I do prefer natural fibers, but that's just my personal preference. All right, number 3. Blocking isn't necessary. Now, this is a difficult one for me because I actually do have a strong opinion on this one. I always encourage blocking. I just think it makes everything more beautiful. It evens out the stitches, it brings out the stitch pattern. You get the correct measurements for your finished item. The fabric drapes better. That said, if you're happy with the way your unblocked knits look and function, and you prefer them that way, who am I to tell you otherwise? So just again, this boils down to your own preferences. If you're happy with your non-blocked knits, don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. But do block. Do try. If you've never tried blocking, I encourage you to definitely give it a try and see what difference it makes. All right, opinion number 4. All sweaters are currently boxy sweaters. And yeah, okay, that's true. Mostly they are. That's the fashion right now, and that's what people want to buy, and so that's what designers design, and that's what they think is beautiful right now. And I'm one of them. I actually love wearing boxy sweaters. I think it comes down to, again, the same need to feel warm. So if I'm wearing sweaters, I want them to be warm. And if there's some extra room to put things underneath, more air that they trap in, all the better for me. So it's the coziness and the warmthness of these oversized, lots of ease sweaters. If you're someone who prefers the more tight-fitting, shaped sweaters, then I would suggest that for the moment, you could look into some older knitting patterns. Vintage knitting patterns, for example, they're very tight-fitting and they have all sorts of shaping for the bust and the waist. But I do understand the need to have something where you don't have to do any math. For example, if you, like with most oversized sweaters, you can just size down. But do pay attention to the yoke or the underarm measurements, because those might then be too small and the sweater will be uncomfortable to wear. So look for patterns where you can work the yoke to the length that you prefer. And then the dropped shoulder patterns are also really good, because you can, quite often in them, it's easy to pick different sizes for the body and the sleeves. So there are ways to work around that, but I do understand that it would be nice to have a pattern that you can just follow row by row and not have to do any math or any kind of extra thinking on top of that. And you just want your relaxing knitting experience. So I do feel you on that if that is something you're struggling with right now. I'm struggling with this one right now. Number 5, you need to fix every mistake. No. Okay, so this is another one where I have a strong opinion, but the answer is no. No, you don't need to fix every mistake. I certainly don't. The smaller mistakes, like having a few extra stitches or too few stitches, doing a slip knit when you meant to do a knit two together, in the grand scheme of things, in the finished item, they very rarely show up, so that people will be able to tell, especially when you're wearing the item. There are folds, it moves, and people tend to look at the whole picture and not the details. Okay, I'm gonna do this last because this is really complicated. Drop stitches, those I pick up because otherwise the sweater or the item might not work. But otherwise, I just say if it bothers you, if it really truly bothers you, then yes, fix it. But if it's just something that you feel like you need to do, don't let kind of the fear of other people's judgment cause you stress in your knitting. Number 6, Ravelry. Now this is something that I'm actually a little scared to bring up because people have really strong opinions about this, and there are people who strongly hate Ravelry. Like over the years, this is the one topic that I've seen the most heated emotions come up in the knitting community. And for me, hate is a really strong word. And if I'm honest, I can see why some people don't like it, but to hate it is just a little confusing to me. I feel that I might get some hate in the comments for saying this that I don't understand. Ravelry has changed over the years, but I still find that it's a very useful tool for a knitter. I remember the days when it was more of a sort of community place. People spent hours on the forums chatting away. They updated their stash and project pages regularly. And I know some people still do, but definitely not to the extent that it was before. I was one of those. I was happy just knitting away and chatting away my evenings there. But I guess it's just kind of come back down to its roots now, and it's an excellent database. There's just nothing else out there that's quite like it. It has all the knitting patterns, and not just current ones, but from the years past. Okay, maybe not all of the patterns from the years past, but it's really extensive. It has all the yarns. For a designer, it's the best place to be selling your patterns on, the best platform for that. And for a knitter, it's a great place to look for new patterns. It's great for searching out yarn options for those patterns that you're wanting to knit. It's just, I think it's very useful. Number 7, I got up and got these because this is apparently a controversial topic, project bags. Now these are both something that I've purchased from independent sewers, small business owners. This is by The Fawn and the Fox, and this is Hue Loco. And no, I don't know if they're still operational or not. I haven't checked because I have no need for new project bags. I have a few of these, some simple drawstring bags, and then just tote bags. And those work for me. The amount of project bags that I have works for me. Now, I admit these are a luxury. These are, of course, nowhere necessity. But I'm not that good of a sewer that I would be able to create a zippered pouch like this that looks beautiful and functions well. So I don't regret my purchases, and I do still use them. They're not exactly facing a lot of wear and tear, are they? So these ones that I have will hopefully last me the rest of my life. I like project bags. I like having things that belong to one project in one place and knowing where to look for them. Maybe the issue is that I am a person who likes to have things organized and like to know where they are. So it works for me. If it doesn't work for you, then I just hope you have a system that works for you. And I don't understand how my project bags can be a problem to anyone else. And then the last one, number 8, is knitted bottoms. I'm redoing this section because my camera just cut out, but that means that I've already put all the yarns back in here. It was just the right amount, but I just have to redo this final section. Right, so knitted bottoms, and by that I mean skirts and shorts and trousers and things that you wear on the bottom half of your body. Now, during my years of knitting, I've done one pair of knitted shorts, and I still have them, and I use them during the winter when I'm really cold to hang around the house, and like I put them over my, say, wool leggings or something. They're purely functional. I wouldn't go out in public in them, but I didn't knit them for that purpose either. So there's just a collection of mismatched yarns. I used to be of the opinion that it's not a good idea, and I still am a bit worried about what type of yarn to use so that when you sit down in the skirts and trousers that they don't become baggy on the backside or around the knees. But I'm slowly starting to come around. I've seen some really gorgeous knitted skirts lately, and I think they're sort of making having their moment or building up to their moment, because I'm seeing more and more of them, and I think they're beautiful, and I'm kind of starting to get curious. I would go for sort of a flowy skirt to avoid the sagging bagginess aspect that I talked about. If you've knitted a skirt or trousers or whatever for the bottom part, let me know any hints and tips, pros and cons, do's and don'ts, just anything. I think this is an area that I need to learn more about and kind of start considering. So any opinions, let me know. And also, just in general, since we are at the end of my list, did I forget anything? Did I leave out something that you think is quite controversial and like on the surface right now that I didn't touch on? And do remember that this was all just for fun, and these are my opinions, and your opinions are your opinions, and they're not better or worse, so they're just opinions, and we don't have to agree on everything. But let me know any thoughts that you have on any of these topics, or just knitting controversies in general. And if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you would like the life lessons video that I mentioned earlier as well, so you can go ahead and watch that next. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget to click the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will see you soon again. Bye.